paper. Hey everyone, I'm John CRAFTHOUSE. Today I just wanted to give you a quick IKEA hack that I used for backdrops, and this ended up costing me about $30 or $40 to install up to 8 rods bolted into studs in my living room. This is actually my front door. Rigging these large 9-foot Savage backdrop papers onto these rods every time I want to record a video by myself is a bit cumbersome and actually a little bit dangerous. So I do have a couple extra back here in bone and in white. I don't use those as often. I probably won't. I might actually use them for a couple of the creative videos I'm going to show you guys for some creative backdrops in your studio build-outs. But my studio is pretty straightforward. Without the Savage papers, it ended up costing me around $300. Now with the Savage papers, depending on the width that you get and the amount of colors that you get, because I like to change up the colors a lot, those are running me about $40 or $50 each. So that is obviously an additional cost. However, I have inherited a couple of others, colors, and a couple of widths for closer up shots and things like that from people for free. So there is a Craigslist dynamic to it that has really helped out. My lighting is very straightforward. It's 2 soft white lights with sunlight bulbs in it, and then a round beauty light. And that's because most of my lighting is close up, and most of my videos are done at this work table. The work table is a little bit deep. It's a vintage piece of bowling alley that I resurfaced and refinished so that it was, because it was so durable and I could use it for craft night parties, spill things on it, get glue on it, and not really care. So I do have to sometimes rig the lighting a little bit differently so that I do get the full effect of the lights on me. Right now I have the lights on one side of the table, but I also have the curtains open, which with 2 south-facing windows and a west-facing bay window, I have a lot of strange sunlight patterns coming in the house during the day. I've installed velvet blackout curtains on the south side of the room, and then I used a patchwork technique and created these black and white curtains that you see here that also have a blackout fabric lining so that no light will interfere when I'm filming. Sometimes I allow the sunlight to come in while I'm filming. I think it's a little bit nicer and it makes the video feel a little bit more domestic. But because this is a rental, it has bars on the window, those patterns just get a little wonky when you're filming and you need to pay attention to that. I keep this large mirror free from the wall. It's portable and ready to move. I usually post that up behind the camera. I have my monitor flipped around, but since Nikon has not updated their camera software to work with the new OS on Mac, I can't use my laptop as a monitor yet. So right now I'm just using a full-length mirror to kind of make sure that I'm in frame, make sure that I'm looking okay, tilting my head in the right directions and things like that. That really is just for close-ups. And then on the front curtains, I pieced together some black and white exterior grade fabric that I got online. I just bought an entire bolt and started piecing it together to make a cool pattern, which was inspired by a Kelly Wearstler floor pattern that she made with marble. And then I backed it in a blackout fabric. So when I pull these shades closed, these curtain panels closed, there's absolutely no light interference in here. I am on a busy street, so sound can be a bit of an issue, but the curtains have helped. All the windows in here are single pane glass, so the audio can have a bit of interference, and I don't know if you're catching this now, but this circle light that I bought, this beauty light, hisses. The sound that comes off of the street can be a bit of a problem sometimes. The curtains do help. The curtains help even on a wall because the sound does bounce off of these plaster walls and these masonry walls. My house is from 1928, and so these things were built solid and they don't absorb a lot. I installed 8 IKEA curtain rod bars here with Finials. And how that is done is on 4 IKEA brackets. The brackets are installed in 2 ways. There's a short side and a long side. If you're just installing one bar on your IKEA curtain rod, you can just mount the long side of the bracket onto the wall. If you're going to use 2 rods, you want to install the short side of the bracket into the wall so you have a longer arm protruding off the wall. This gives you more space to add the little hooks on. I'm going to link all of these things below in the video because I want you to be able to check them out, but this is in the grab-and-go marketplace at IKEA. These curtain rods I got for the 9-foot Savage paper. So as you can see here, I've installed 4 IKEA brackets onto the wall on each side. Now I've installed a piece of plywood about 1.5 inches wide to 18 inches long into the studs in the wall because drilling into this wall is such a pain in this house. The walls are about 16 inches thick and masonry. So I bolted in a piece of plywood. This makes installing the curtain rod brackets on top of that extremely easy. And marking a level line across the 2 pieces of plywood is wonderful. Then I installed the brackets equidistant down the piece of plywood and then across. I just used a laser level to shoot a line across from the top screw of this side and marked it over there. Now, it does help to have 2 sets of hands here, but I did this just on my own. It would have gone a lot quicker if I had someone help me. Once I had that done, I installed these small little armatures that screw in from the top and put the poles in. There's a piece of silicone that goes in the armature here, and that keeps the rod from moving horizontally back and forth. That's really important. These papers are very heavy. You don't want this falling and crashing down on anyone. So make sure that this plywood is installed really securely into a stud, and that means you're going to have to probably you want to stay outside of the 9-foot margin, but inside of the full extent of the curtain rod. So the curtain rod still has a little grab on it because it is 2 poles tied together. I bought these small clips from Amazon, again, which I'll link below, that keep them in a stationary position. Also, when I undo them and pull the paper down, once the paper gets to a certain weight, when you're pulling it down, it starts to just unroll on its own, and you don't want 30 feet or 30 meters of paper just coming crashing down because it's really hard to roll it back up if you do it like that. One thing to note, when I'm rolling them back up, if I roll from one side, the roll is diagonal and it twists the paper. I have to move the step ladder to the center of the rod and roll the paper up from there. And then I just clasp it there and the clasps keep it from unraveling. Now, if you'll notice, I left 2 bars open, and one is for a quick paper install, and this one's at about 8 or 9 feet high, and the other actually has installed on it a green screen curtain. This again is an Amazon purchase. I purchased it, and then steamed it, ironed it, and cut it. I bought it way too big for the space. Now, if you see, right here as I have it, it's not that flat, so it might read when I do a green screen backing that there are some like ripples and stuff in the background. You want this as flat and as creaseless as possible. So iron it, steam it, hang it, leave a little bit of room for it to puddle on the floor. What I use to weight this down then use large clamps like this, which are heavy enough and strong enough to clamp the bottom of the curtain and pull it taut. The only thing I have to watch for when I have this setup up is that someone doesn't come in through the front door, which has happened and which has been catastrophic. However, I've had that person taken care of and that situation will no longer occur. But with the curtain rods, you want to just make sure it's up and out of the way. I bought black. They come in silver and they come in white. The white tends to get scuffed up and marked a lot, and I thought the black kind of just went with the room a little bit nicer. Since it was already going to be showing that I had these giant paper rolls up here, I thought I might as well go for it and just do a rod that I like. The Finials were simple and the cheapest that I could purchase. And I just have to install the last pair right here. But this is it. This is your easy go-to studio setup if you want to do, you know, sitting or standing YouTube videos with a backdrop. I have not used this green screen yet. I'm just figuring out how to use it, but I am using iMovie to edit my videos, and iMovie offers a lot of options with green screening or chroma key. So it is something that I will be exploring further and posting about, but for a small startup YouTube channel, this is a pretty good setup. My videos look a lot better than most people starting up, and I didn't have to fork over a lot of money to get there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sound off below in the comments. Hit a follow and a like if you like what you see. I will be doing more YouTube hacks and general IKEA hacks and furniture hacks and things like that. And I will get those uploaded as soon as possible. If you notice and look at my other videos, you'll see some of these backdrops are brand new, so I haven't used them yet. But you will see some of these colors, which maybe look a little bit more muted to me here in person, are a lot more saturated and pigmented on video. So that's another thing to consider with these. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a great day. Thanks.